Thank you, Simon. The cars are firing up on the grid as we get ready for this second race of the day, but unfortunately not firing up, and that's Dave Newsham. He's had a horrible day already, and the car, something will happen to him on the out lap, the reconnaissance lap, just to get onto the grid, so he's not even there.
No, very disappointing. I mean, he really hasn't had much luck, poor old Dave, since he came into the championship. Started off the year in the normally aspirated BMW and made the switch to special tuning, which is definitely a more competitive car, but not quite having the rub of the green. But it'll change, and at least he has 3 races in one day.
Absolutely, so we'll see whether he gets back out later on. Hopefully he'll have a better run in the third race. Everybody else I think is on the grid. Just remind you that Lee Wood, who was due to be racing today, had an engine problem yesterday, so he's not able to contest this. But away goes Plato. O'Neill follows him, and they go away on their formation lap, and it's a chance for us then to look at how they line up. And so Plato now, having won the race earlier on today, he carries some 45 kilos of success ballast, and he's joined on that front row by Paul O'Neill, who carries 36 kilos. Frank Rattle next up with Matt Neal on the second row, and now Matt's car a bit lighter, but particularly behind him Gordon Shedden, who was carrying maximum ballast earlier, now carrying none at all. Nick Foster in the BMW, keep an eye on him, he was very impressive in the latter stages earlier on. Back on row 4, Rob Austin and Tom Boardman, then James Nash, who is joint independence points leader after that earlier race. Michael Caine is next to him on the 5th row. Andy Neate and Alex McDowell, who had a bit of a falling out after their little incident in race 1. Tom Chilton and Jeff Smith on row 7. Gillam and Griffin together on row 8. And then John George and Chris James on row 9. Tom Onslow Cole, Martin Byford on the 10th row. The Golf had that bonnet fly up earlier. Dan Welsh and Rob Collard on row 11. Then Dave Newsham should have been on row 12. Andrew Jordan's at the back. Matt Jackson's at the back. And I gather was that Rob Austin's going to be starting at the back.
Ah, yes, I didn't know that actually. Was he late out of the pit lane? He was came out of his garage very late, and so if you miss the closing time of the pit road exit, you have to start at the back. That's a great shame for Rob, but he came through well in the first race, so no reason why he can't do it again.
He's obviously making life hard for himself, but he's enjoying his fight through the field. Driving a historic Formula 1 car, wasn't he, last week at the Nürburgring, so a slightly different style of driving this weekend. So everybody making their way around for this second race then, and Jason Plato looking to make it 2 out of 2. You know, he managed that at the first event of the season at Brands Hatch this year, won the first and second races of the day, so we know he can do it, but he is carrying the ballast now, and it's going to be a question of what those guys around him can do to try and stop him rushing off into an early lead. And of course Paul O'Neill's going to be up there on that front row as well. Let's see if we can get a quick word with Tom Chilton and see how he feels about things. Tom, it's Ben in the commentary box. You've got a bit of work to do still, mate, from where you are on this grid.
I have indeed, yeah. After the first race I went from 14th to 9th, and I got hit off quite hard, which broke my pad steering. I don't think anyone realises the last third of the race I had no pad steering, and I had to work very hard for that 13th after I got hit off. So yes, I got another fight in this one. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, Ben.
All right, Tom, have a good one. And well, yes, it's not much way we can tell when they've lost their power steering, is it?
No, there's no way we can tell at all up here, but it does make for a very difficult car to drive, especially a front-wheel drive car, actually.
Yeah, of course he did go very deep into the hairpin a couple of times. That's probably partly why.
Yeah, couldn't turn the wheel. But interesting racing prospect with Plato obviously now carrying maximum ballast, and Shedden particularly having lost all ballast. So it'll be very interesting switch round in performance, we hope.
So, 2 Chevys on the front row. You got the Toyota of Frank Rattle and the Honda of Matt Neal just in behind them. Then Nick Foster's BMW, and then Gordon Shedden lining up there as well. We've really got a lot to look forward to. There's a gap where Rob Austin would have been on the 4th row of the grid. He's starting from the very back of the field. There he is, just rolling into position, but he could be one to watch. He's got Andy Jordan and Matt Jackson ahead of him, so 3 fast cars at the back, lots of fast cars at the front. Let's see what's going to happen then in round 23 of the championship. Lights out, away we go, and Paul O'Neill makes a great start. Raffle makes a terrible start. Plato is going to be side by side with O'Neill here, but O'Neill can't quite get right alongside him. And look at Nick Foster in the BMW. He's up into 3rd place, under attack from the 2 Hondas.
Oh, spin further back, that's John George, but he keeps it going.
Wow.
Just avoiding there, but Tony Gillam avoiding, but a great start by Foster in the BMW.
Really good stuff. Now, how Is it going to be down here? This is where it gets very, very busy, as we saw in the first race. Plato, O'Neill, then Shedden and Neal. Frank Raffle lost out a lot at the start, didn't get the Toyota off the line, but otherwise this is looking relatively... Oh, no, spoke too soon, somebody's on the grass.
Yeah, and it looked like Nick Foster in pushed back to sort of 5th or 6th place, so he must have lost out at Dean Hairpin.
Yeah, that's right, so that's a bit of a shame for him. On board with Gordon Shedden as he chases the top two. So what a good start this has worked out for Gordon, because he started 6th on the grid and he's now in 3rd behind the two Chevys. And remember, Gordon's got no weight on, or no extra ballast on board.
Yeah, he's running at the base weight, which, like all the turbo cars, is 20 kilos heavier than it was at Knockhill, but
yeah,
he hasn't got any success ballast.
That's right, I'm having to be careful what I say now. But anyway, we've got the two Chevys, and O'Neill having to defend already from Gordon Shedden. Frank Raffle in 4th place with Matt Neal behind him, and then Nick Foster, as you say, who did lose out. Tom Norman is in that queue as well. So is James Nash in the Black Vauxhall, and then the first of the Fords, which I think is Tom Onslow Cole, with Chetna as they come over the line. It is Plato who leads. A good start by Jason Plato, and it's O'Neill who's under attack here from Gordon Shedden.
Yeah, it looks like Shedden's car's a bit quicker now on the straights with the ballast off, and of course Paul O'Neill's carrying 36 kilos for the first time this year.
Yeah, and Shedden takes 2nd. He's up in a 2nd place, although he's trying to force his way back there in Paul O'Neill. But Gordon Shedden is in 2nd place and now chasing after Jason Plato. Well, Shedden led the championship coming into this event. He might have lost a couple of points to Matt Neal in the first race today, but this is a big opportunity opening up here for Gordon Shedden, with an opportunity now to chase down Jason Plato. Paul O'Neill's having to defend 3rd from the Toyota of Frank Raffle.
Yeah, I spoke to Mickey Butler from Dunlop, and he confirmed my suspicion that the NGTC tyres of Frank Raffle were in very good condition at the end of the race. So looks like that car's handling his tyres. They are a bit wider, so more work for the tyre to do, or to spread the work evenly over the tyre. But his tyres were in very good condition at the end of the race.
So a little bit like watching the rear-wheel drive cars be strong at the end, we've got to keep an eye on the NGTC cars for being very strong at the end as well, and we saw that from Rob Austin earlier too, didn't we? So just checking through the order at the moment, Tom Chilton is actually in 11th place, so he's the first of the four. Oh no, Neitz is in 9th place, he's the first of the Fords, and then Chilton is in 11th place. McDowell is in 12th place, and the second of the Silverline Chevys. But the lead car is that of Jason Plato, but Shedden was quicker on that lap. Gordon Shedden closed 3/10 on Jason Plato on that last lap, as we take a look at the start from Rob Collard's point of view.
Right at the back, so the whole road in front of him opens up. He goes to the left-hand side. That's perfectly allowed. A fantastic start. Pulled a lot of places there. There was some action behind him, but then again right down below the white line. You can do that flat on the first lap when you're accelerating off the grid. You wouldn't do it in the race though.
No, and he made up a lot of ground, but I think he must have lost some somewhere as well. I'm not sure. He was with Kane there, so that's about right. That's where he is now, as he's come past in 17th place. But there was a bit of a collision, I think. Oh!
That was Griffin on his right, actually. Oh no, it was Kane, you're right. But Kane obviously got hit as well and pushed him into Collard, so that's what spoiled that excellent first lap.
Yeah, somebody else involved that we didn't see on the inside. Now, Shedden has got a bit closer to the back of Jason Plato, so the gap has narrowed even further on this lap. In the background, you've still got O'Neill versus Raffle, but I tell you what, at this stage of the season, is a really interesting confrontation between Jason Plato and Gordon Shedden.
Yeah, but Shedden's car's going to be quicker on the straight, because Plato's carrying full 45 kilos of success ballast that Shedden isn't, so watch that Honda gobble up the Chevy down the straight here.
Another fastest lap from Gordon Shedden on that lap, and he's going to try and do it early. He's going to go for the inside here and try and get down the inside as he passed Paul O'Neill earlier, and Plato doesn't fight it that hard. In the background, Raffle has got 3rd. Raffle has got that place from O'Neill.
Yeah, I think Plato knew that he'd be fighting a losing battle if he tried to defend that, although I would have expected to have defended it harder, because it is for championship points as well. And I suspect he may have a plan though to maybe get closer to Shedden later in the race if the turbo car works its tyres harder than the normally aspirated Chevy. But he certainly made it very easy for him. I can't believe Jason hasn't got a plan. He's too wily for that.
Yeah, I would think he wants to try and get the two of them away from everybody else. What he doesn't want to get is joined in a fight and then be caught by all the other turbo cars, because then he would be in trouble.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. Yeah, better off going with Shedden than letting Rattle get up behind him.
Yeah, and then as you say, perhaps the tyres on the Honda will suffer in the closing stages. So Jason Plato playing a wily game here, and it might still work for him, and we're only on lap 4 out of the 16. Bit of a lock up behind from Frank Rattle, but Rattle holds it in 3rd place. O'Neill in 4th, Matt Neal is close behind in 5th.
Yeah, Rattle, obviously we didn't talk about that. He made a very good pass on Paul O'Neill at Dean Hairpin as well, and we've seen in race 1 already how strong that car is on the brakes, and well, Rattle is just becoming a very consistent podium runner, isn't he, at the moment? Long way to go still in this race, but he's certainly banging them in.
Yeah, it's great to see a youngster like him move up into touring cars. Meanwhile, Matt Neal now trying to get past the Chevy, but he's not got alongside as Shedden had done earlier, and he's not able to do it. So Paul O'Neill's safe in 4th for the moment, from Matt Neal behind him in the Honda. Tom Borman in the black Seat is running in 6th place. Nick Foster in the BMW is 7th, James Nash 8th, Andy Neat is in 9th position. And in fact, I think Neat's just been passed by Jeff Smith in the 2nd Pertec Vauxhall, the white Pertec Vauxhall. Has actually just got past Andy Neat, so that's a good move by Jeff Smith, and he's in 9th position now.
Yeah, and good run by James Nash. He coming into this race was tied for the Independence lead with Matt Jackson, and Matt Jackson's having another poor race, only in 18th place. So this could see Nash take the lead in the Independence.
Now this is all a bit fun. There's Matt Jackson, who you mentioned, trying to cut his way through. He's being chased by Collard, who've gained a place there from Griffin, and these two are making a bit of progress, but there's a long way to go still in the race, and Collard getting quite close to the back of Jackson.
That's a wildly differing lines coming out of the corner there, and but it looks like Rob Austin's now got alongside. I can't see Collard conceding that though, not from the outside.
No, absolutely. So he has to hold on to that position, but Austin is cutting his way through. He's now inside the top 20 after that, having to start from the very back of the grid, so he's behind Collard. Back up with Plato, and Plato's been passed by Rattle. So Rattle takes 2nd place. It's Shedden leading, Rattle 2nd, Plato 3rd.
Well, it didn't take Rattle long to catch up, did it? And I tell you what, Rattle may well have the car to win this race, you know.
Borman off at the hairpin. Tom Borman has spun the Seat, or was he helped? It's a situation down there where you often get a little bit of a helping hand, but we'll have to take a look and see what happened there. But you're right, I mean, Frank Rattle is in shape to win this thing.
Yeah, I've no doubt about it. I mean, Frank has got a small amount of weight on the car, but he's got the biggest tyres and a turbocharged engine that is very quick. It's very good on the brakes, that car, and I would say this was his time to be a bit more aggressive and to go for it.
Well, are we about to see the first ever NGTC victory in British Touring Cars? Still a little way to go in this race. We're on lap 6 out of 16. And at the moment, it's still Gordon Shedden who has the advantage in his unballasted race success-wise car, chased by the orange and black Toyota. And then, of course, it is Jason in the Chevy. Jason holding on as gamely as possible in that car. And these three are a little ahead of O'Neill and Matt Neal, because they've dropped to about 1.6 seconds behind, and I think that's what Plato wants. He wants to just stay on terms with the top two at the moment. And look, Matt Neal now down the inside of Paul O'Neill. Oh, surely they're going to touch, and O'Neill goes wide, and Matt Neal takes the place.
Well, they were both waiting for the other one to brake first, weren't they? And in the end, they both braked at the same time, and jointly a fraction too late, but they both got round and carried on. And I must correct myself, actually I said Shedden was running without any ballast, but of course he has got 9 kilos from 5th in the first place.
Yeah, a little bit of ballast, but yeah, not too bad. And he's still having a bit of a problem staying in front of Frank Rattle here, because Rattle is getting ever closer to the back of that Honda. Well, this would be a big objection. Plato would be quite happy if Rattle took the lead, because he'd take points from Gordon Shedden, of course, so yeah, Plato won't worry about that.
No, exactly. I mean, Plato will sit there and watch Rattle attack and hope that something comes of it. Rattle's clearly a lot quicker, really. I think Shedden is holding him up at this point in the race, and we're not even halfway through the race yet.
No, and if he looks after his tyres as well as he did in the first race, he's going to be even stronger in the second half. So as they come around this time, it will be to go on to lap 8 out of 16, so we're half distance here. Shedden win the fastest lap of the race earlier on, but right now you have to say that Frank Rattle is potentially the fastest of anybody here, and that Toyota looking so stable out on the banking and on the infield twisty section as well. Under braking, he's not close enough to have a go. You're looking back from Shedden. See how close Plato still is, though. Plato is still in this hunt.
Yeah, he is. But there was, it's interesting. Raffle certainly couldn't catch Shedden on the straight, the power part of the circuit. So his advantage is lying with the grip and the handling of that car around the corners, around this inner section, and certainly on the brakes. If he gets a chance on the brakes, I think his best chance is going to be into Tarzan, the hairpin, where he can carry some speed through the left-hander Gracelands before. We're coming up to it now. I think Raffle is quicker through here. He can carry speed through here and then outbrake Shedden on the inside of Tarzan. I think that's going to be his best place at some point in the race.
This is a really close tussle between the top three in this race at half distance. It could be anyone of these three, or perhaps even Matt Neal, who's behind. Good exit again from Frank Raffle. Plato goes out wide behind. Still Shedden has the advantage though, and it is the Honda that will have the edge as they turn into the Brook chicane to come around and complete this 7th lap and go on to lap 9 out of 16 after this one. Raffle, the 24-year-old from Preston in Lancashire, in his first ever season of British touring cars. He's a Ginetta Cup champion, however. He comes from a motor racing family. His father very involved in racing of all sorts over the years, and Frank has grown up in a motorsport environment, but nonetheless this is impressive stuff from him.
Oh, it's hugely impressive stuff. He makes very, very few mistakes, and he's learnt his craft of racing in touring cars very, very quickly, and as I said in the first race, an old head on young shoulders, and well, this is going to make Alan Gow very happy, isn't it?
Yeah, because this is, oh, look at all this, what's going on in the hairpin? My goodness, Onslow Cole on the inside, McDowell, they're all fighting for 11th place, and that was Andrew Jordan in there, Matt Jackson. Wow, this is fraught stuff, and I didn't think they were all going to make it round, but they did.
Wow, look, and here's the action, and Rob, well, who are they catching up? They're actually catching up with Welch in the Proton just in front.
Yeah, that's for 11. Look at Jordan and Jackson, these two, fighting away for independent points, and Rob Austin's on their inside in the Audi as well, and he might get both of them. Yeah, he slipped through on the inside. Austin was 16th a moment ago, and I think he'll be in 11th place as a result of that.
Oh, that was great racing. We know what a fantastic racing driver Rob Austin is, and an aggressive one, an opportunist, and he took that opportunity there. Jackson looking up.
Oh, yeah, I wondered whether he was going to get into the side of Austin, but Austin had enough of a margin there. So there you've got the Proton of Dan Welsh. He's actually 11th. McDowell must be 12th, and Onslow Cole there with a very, very battered looking Ford, trying to make his way round.
Yeah, that's bordering on a black and orange flag, isn't it?
Yeah.
Parts hanging off. I'm sure the car, of course, will be looking at that. At the moment, it looks like it's going to stay on, but we're sort of getting to the realms of Gordon Shedden at Snetterton with the wing hanging off, aren't we there? So.
Yeah, I wonder if he can find a barrier to wipe it off against, but it might be difficult if you try that against the brick wall. Okay, Rob Austin up on the outside. He's in 13th place, but it might be 12th any moment. No, not quite.
Well, he cuts back just in front of Jackson there. I hope he knew he was there. He's trying to get a nice cutback that could easily wipe the nose off. Seems to have just become a little bit static at the front here, so Michael, okay, well, we said on the grid that he had some power steering problems, and maybe they've decided to get that car in and try and fix it for race 3, give themselves the most amount of time. He did also have that contact when we saw on the first lap with Collard, but he got hit on the right hand side and we didn't see what happened. So
Raffle not quite breathing down Shedden's neck as he was a lap or two ago, but still in the hunt. We've got Shedden leading, Raffle second, Plato third, Nat Neal fourth, Paul O'Neill having a bit of a quiet time in fifth, then James Nash, and then Foster, and then this lot with Rob Austin rubbing side by side with Alex McDowell here. This is for 12th place, trying to come around the outside. Surely that's going to be a bit of a tall order, but he might get a decent run out of this chicane. Of course, and he hits the back of McDowell there, slides McDowell, and surely the turbo-powered Audi will then have the edge as they come on the banking. Well, he lost himself momentum as well. Yeah, but watch that Audi go. He's going to get right round the outside if he's lucky. And the Audi, is it good on the brakes? Rob's certainly brave. He's loving this, isn't he? Whereas we're back with the leaders briefly because Raffle's got even closer to Shedden once again. So there's nothing to choose between these two, and Shedden perhaps beginning to suffer a touch with that front end grip. The front tyres now perhaps beginning to complain because we're on lap 11 out of 16. Well, this is the point that he was starting to slow up in race 1, wasn't it? Obviously he's got less ballast on at the moment,
He had 45 kilos because championship leader in the first race. He's only got 9 on now, and also we heard him say that he changed his setup to Matt Neal, so could be kinder.
Andy Neat and Tom Chilton racing for 9th. Now let's see, this was Austin a moment ago. Did he complete that move? You wondered whether it would be on the brakes. No, oh dear. And that opened the door on Matt Jackson's car.
Yeah, opened the door literally, didn't it? But, well, we'll see what happens. If that continues to flap, he'll definitely get black and yellow flag.
But also what's interesting is I think Matt Neal is catching Jason Plato for 3rd. So that great rivalry, and if you were with us earlier, you'll know that there's been even more of it this weekend. After qualifying, there was a bit of an altercation between them, and now you're seeing Plato and Neal running very close to one another on track.
Well, this is what we were looking for after their qualifying spat. Would they end up on track together? And Matt Neal, a couple of tenths quicker on the last lap, now up behind Jason, and well, let the games begin. They started yesterday, or let the games continue.
Let's just remind you that they were both given suspended 6th place grid penalties for their behaviour yesterday. If they misbehaved out on track, then the next race they would have to take a 6th place penalty on the grid. So,
or indeed off the track,
or off the track, which it was yesterday. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So they will be being watched. There's no doubt about it. As Shedden still leads from Rathel. Plato not able to maintain the lead pace, but Shedden just keeping it under control for the moment. We'll see whether he can continue to do so. We're on lap 12 out of 16, so there's still a bit of room here for things to change. Remember, in the first race, Shedden dropped back really in the closing stages, but he was carrying more ballast then. In the background, we've still got Paul O'Neill running 5th, James Nash in 6th, Nick Foster in 7th, and Jeff Smith is still running, I think, in 8th place. McDowell has gone wide. I don't know whether he was helped or he might have been helped. He's going a bit slowly at the moment, but trying to get back up to speed.
Well, I can see.
This is what happened to McDowell. So let's just see. Rob Austin behind him.
Oh!
He got turned around.
He got turned around, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That was Rob Austin giving a bit more straight line speed and basically perhaps just not judging it quite right. So that turned McDowell round, who's dropped down the order as a result. Black and orange 4. Car number 4 at the moment is being shown, which is interesting. That's for the Ford, isn't it? That's for
the Tom Onslow Coles car.
Tom Onslow Coles car. So
well, that was the car that had the bumper flapping at the back, wasn't it?
Yeah, but the door still flapping on the Jackson car. Look at that.
Yeah, I'd have thought that was a little bit more serious, to be honest. But maybe they're going to prepare. Oh, yeah, they're now preparing a board with number 7 on it for. No, that could be nasty.
Andy Neat spinning right in front of everybody. My goodness, that was lucky, wasn't it?
That was very lucky. Those are the accidents we hate to see when a car comes back into the path of others.
That's 2 incidents Andy's had today that he's sort of got away with. Let's hope they keep it at that. Gordon Shedden from Frank Rathel, still the top 2 here. Hops it over the curve a bit more that time, Shedden, than we've seen. And Plato looks as though he's sliding around, but Matt Neal is right there with him now, as Rathel also bears down on Shedden. This race has still got plenty to show us. Across the line, the gap just 0.3 of a second between these 2.
Yeah, and the black and orange flag, going out for car number 7, Matt Jackson, for the flapping door.
So, where is Frank Rathel? We know he's fast up here. We know the car's good under the brakes. And look at Matt Neal. Matt Neal down the inside of Jason Plato, who doesn't fight it. Matt Neal is through and into 3rd place.
Yeah, no, Jason Plato not fighting that at all. So, curious. I'd have thought he'd have actually defended a little bit, but chose not to.
No, he's not going to get involved in that. Feels that it's not worth it. Matt Neal up into 3rd place then. So, the 2 leading championship contenders are, of course, Matt Neal and Gordon Shedden. Shedden looks as though he's on possibly for a maximum score here, but it does depend on what happens to Frank Rathel, whether he can get past, and it would put Shedden back in front in the championship. It's a real seesaw between the 2 of them at the moment. 2 teammates fighting for it. Meanwhile, Nick Foster really having a go at James Nash. Oh, he's got down the inside, and he's got past.
That's a really good move, and it's hard to pass there. You can probably only do that in a rear-wheel drive car. We saw Rob Austin up the inside earlier, and it's one of the strengths of the BMW and the Audi, the rear-wheel drive. They can really put the power down rail around that long left-hander.
Lovely stuff from Nick Foster, who is relishing the BMW's handling here at Rockingham, and he's driving superbly. That was such a good clean move as well, and James Nash will just have to say, well, fair done, I've been done there in a fair way, and Nash is back down to 7th, but he is still the top independent of the top independent runners. Anyway, he might not be top independent. In fact, Frank Rathel is top independent finisher if they stay the way they are. But in terms of the championship, James Nash is still outscoring his big rivals, Andrew Jordan and Matt Jackson, and that's what he'll be focused on as we go back on board with the race leader, who is indeed looking back at the leading independent car in this particular race.
Yeah, a lap and a half to go, and Rathel needs to be getting a little bit busy now. He needs to, we need to see some aggression from Frank now. This is an opportunity to win, and most drivers have been really pushing hard here. I'm not saying he isn't, but we need to see some aggression, because he reminds me so much of Colin Turkington. Really smooth, very controlled. You seldom see him smashing the car or hitting other people, and we need to get some aggression in there to, he should be looking down the inside and making Shedden think about defending.
Yeah, well, he's still got a little bit of time, but as he comes around next time, it'll just be the one lap to go. Shedden is very aware that his mirrors are being filled by that NGTC Toyota. In the background, you've still got Matt Neal in 3rd, Jason Plato in 4th, and look at the background, Nick Foster trying to go past Paul O'Neill. He's done him. He's got round the outside of Paul O'Neill. I think he'll hold on to it, and that's into 5th place there. And Nick Foster having an absolutely superb weekend at Rockingham.
Now, we knew the BMW would be good at the end of the races, and Nick qualified that car really well, and he's getting his just rewards now as he power slides the car up onto the banking.
Teammate Rob Collard is down in 12th place, Andrew Jordan 13th, Tony Gilliman, another BMW, is in 14th place, and now O'Neill seems to be struggling a bit because James Nash is lining him up too. But as we're on the final lap, Gordon Shedden it is who leads, who could well be on for the maximum point score to put himself back on top of this championship table, as Matt Neal won't be able to defend that little lead he had after the first race. But this will also, whatever happens here, surely it's going to be the best ever result for an NGTC car, because Frank's had a number of 3rd places over the last couple of events, but he's looking at 2nd this time.
Yeah, he is. It could be the best result, as you say, and he's certainly driven a great race, and he'll be very happy with that. And I think maybe in the back of the mind he's thinking, I'm happy with 2nd. But that first win's not far away.
It's not, and I wondered for a moment there, Shedden was very wide. Actually, he had it under control, but he was pretty wide out of Gracelands. We're through Tarzan hairpin. We've just got the final chicane to go. Does Rathel go for it? No, he takes a wide line. He's going to look for a decent exit out of the corner, but I don't think he's quite going to have enough to defeat the Honda. The Honda has been in superb form here as they accelerate out of the final corner. It's going to be the run to the flag, but it is Gordon Shedden who takes victory, and Frank Rathel takes his best ever finish in 2nd. Matt Neal comes home in 3rd place. Jason Plato has to settle for 4th. And what about the next one through? Well done to Nick Foster. Another fine drive from him. He lost out a bit at the start, but he recovered to 5th. James Nash finishes 6th ahead of O'Neill, so O'Neill dropped back a bit more there at the end. Jeff Smith an excellent 8th, so well done to Jeff Smith. Rob Austin 9th from the back of the grid, Rob Collard 10th, and then Chilton and Onslow Cole. So a lot going on there, but Shedden was able to defend that lead and hold on for another victory this year, and he's looking more and more like a possible champion.
Yeah, Plato was unable to carry the 45 kilos of success ballast to a win, and the Hondas came through without much resistance, it has to be said, from Plato. Great drive by Frank Rathel, great start up into 2nd place, a brilliant result for him, the best ever NGTC result. As you say, good result for Nick Foster in 5th, and Rob Austin all the way from the back up to 9th.
Yeah, that was impressive in the Audi, no doubt about it. But it is Gordon Shedden who takes the maximum point score. That's his 5th win of the season, so he's now matched his teammates in terms of number of race victories, although Jason Plato won ahead of both of them because of that win he had today. He's now on 6 wins, and they certainly are spreading them amongst each other at the moment. But of course we've still got the reverse grid race to go later on this afternoon, and we're still to find out how many cars will be reversed. Are we going to see? Could be anybody from James Nash, Paul O'Neill, could be Jeff Smith on pole, it might even be Rob Austin, or it could be Rob Collard. We'll have to see what happens when we do the draw for that reverse grid, but we could be in for a very exciting final race of the day as well. but there's no doubt that a few people have not had such a good day. The likes of Matt Jackson, for example, he was way
Matt
outside.
Jackson, that's effectively, well, it's the 5th race out of the points on the trot.
Yeah, bad news. So Gordon Shedden takes the victory narrowly from the Dynajet Toyota of Frank Raffle. Matt Neal finishes in 3rd, beating Jason Plato, and Nick Foster recovering well to 5th place. James Nash also passed Paul O'Neill on that last little run to the flag. Jeff Smith finished a good 8th place, and then Rob Austin was 9th and Rob Collard was 10th. Outside the points, Tom Chilton and Tom Onslow-Cole in the 2 Team Aon cars, Andrew Jordan and Tony Gillam, then Alex McDowell and Liam Griffin with Chris James, Martin Byford, John George and Matt Jackson. So let's see what's happening in that seesaw contest for the championship. Shedden goes back ahead once more. So he's now 5 points ahead of Matt Neal. Jason Plato is there in 3rd place. Matt Jackson has failed to score for 5 races. He's stuck on what he earned at the end of the Snetterton race, and he's gone through the whole of Knockhill and more than half of this meeting without scoring a point. James Nash, though, is now, I reckon, going to be leading the points in the Independence Championship because they're scored differently to the overall. So although he's behind Jackson in that table, you'll actually see in the Independence table, I think Nash will be ahead. And I think it will mean that 888 will have taken the lead in the Teams Championship as well. So there's a very close contest going on between those two. Andrew Jordan, Tom Chilton, Rob Collard, Alex McDowell and Paul O'Neill complete the top 10. And the normal scrutineering checks taking place down there.
Disappointment for Plato though, because he was 35 points behind coming into this race. He got that down to 25 after the first race, but now he's gone up to 31 points again, so hasn't made the progress he'd like.
No, and he just he didn't try and even fight them that much, did he? He just gave them the space and they were able to go past him. So, but it is Gordon Shedden who takes victory here. Add to his tally this year. And this guy could be marching on his way towards the title, but to do it, he's still going to have to beat his teammate. And they both are hungry. And remember, Matt Neal still wanting to become the first driver to win 3 titles since the mid-80s when Andy Rouse last managed to do it. Both Jason Plato and Matt would love to be able to do that. Let's go down to the pits with Simon.